Hey everyone, and welcome to Locked On Lakers for a Saturday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers get a 124-108 win over the Pelicans, fueled by the big three. And they were really big on Friday. We'll explain next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on Saturdays. No matter how, where you get your podcasts, this one's always free, never behind paywall. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where over 34,000 subscribers, Andy, are, I don't know if celebrating is the right word, but certainly not lamenting a 124-108 win over the visiting New Orleans Pelicans. All in all, a workmanlike victory for the Lakers, one where they got done what needed to be done without really threatening to lose the game down the stretch. Big performances from the big three, 35 from Luka, 30 from AR, who set a Lakers record with 15 three-pointers over 2 games. So congratulations to him. And LeBron chipping in with 27 and 8. So the good news is the big three were big. The somewhat worrisome news is nobody else was. And here we are, Andy. The Lakers got done what needed to be done. They are back in third place in the Western Conference, heading into a stretch of 4 extremely difficult games.
It took about a half for the Lakers to give any type of bleeps about this game at all. But once if I'm being honest, they were...
It's fine. You have your evaluation.
It wasn't just my evaluation. It was Stu Lance's evaluation. It was Billy Mack's evaluation. And it was clearly JJ Redick's evaluation at halftime when he was just transparently displeased with the effing around that was happening. But once they did decide to turn it on, they absolutely controlled and went on to bury the Pelicans. And you mentioned the lack of production beyond the big three. It's another reminder of the importance of Rui Hachimura, who did not play tonight. Unsurprisingly, we mentioned that we thought after the Warriors loss Thursday night show that Rui would likely not play because of the second end of a back-to-back, and that knee, according to Rui, 70 to 80%. You don't want to chance it in a game like this, but it's a reminder of how much the source of consistent scoring drops off between the big three, and their 92 points tonight clearly qualified as production. And then there's Rui, and then there's everybody else in terms of the guys that you really can count on a game in, game out basis are close enough.
Yeah. And look, the Lakers, I feel like at this point in the season are expending the energy that needs to be expended in any given moment. We'll see what happens. Obviously, this sort of effort will not work on Sunday in Oklahoma City. It will definitely not work, and it won't work on Tuesday when they're still in Oklahoma City. It probably won't work in Dallas, and it won't work against the Rockets. So all that considered, I can certainly understand.
Probably can pull it off, though, as a way of closing out the season against the Blazers.
Maybe, because the Blazers haven't been eliminated yet because nobody seems to want to be the 10th seed. So as far the last time I looked, at least, Portland, that game could still actually matter. Hopefully it won't, but it could. So, that aside, we don't need to argue about how hard they were trying. I think it's one of these games where, it was good to see, if you want to try to pull some positives from it, obviously AR continues to be on just a royal heater. And, the confidence with which he is playing and the way he is starting to impact games at really an all-star level at this point over the last few weeks is that continued on Friday. And then Luka, who got off to a tremendously slow start. When did he take his first shot?
I don't know when he took or made his first shot, but he finished the first half with 13 points, which sounds great until you realize it was on 3 of 12 shooting.
Right.
And he looked like a continuation of the last few games that he's had, where just offensively in terms of his shooting and scoring, he's just been out of sorts.
Correct.
And thankfully, the second half, he began looking more like himself. 7 of 9 for 23 points. I recognize it's against the zombie Pelicans, but my hope...
Definitely
Yeah.
Pelicans.
Oh God, they're the Pella shouldn'ts. But like my hope is that even acknowledging the opponent, it represents rediscovering some offensive rhythm and flow, because he really needs it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, you talk about the difference between the first half and the second half, whether it's effort or Luka starts making shots. I mean, there's all the.
Well, I think in Luka's case, it was making shots. I don't
right, but I'm
think it
saying,
was
but like
lack of effort.
the influence that has over the results, over the way you can play defense, over the rest of the offense. You know, when Luka is hitting his shots, obviously that changes drastically how defenses are defending the Lakers. You know, you saw plays where they would run actions and, you know, be able to get into multiple options, and LeBron running back door, and you lob to Jackson Hayes, and all these other, like, these actions that are opened up and freed up by, in part, Luka really starting to hit his shots. And that's, like, we talked about it for Friday. The Lakers have not seen consistent, fully realized Luka. And the ceiling that they have this year, if they're gonna go deep in the playoffs, if they're gonna, you know, get past Oklahoma City at some point, then, you know, hell, if they're gonna get past the Warriors maybe in the first round or the second round or whatever it is. They beat Denver, by the way, on Friday night, which helps the Lakers move up, but also keeps the Western Conference standings absurdly tight. 3 through 8,
no good outcome.
3 through 8 in the Western Conference. 3 through 8 are separated by 2 games. I mean, the Lakers fortunately have tiebreakers basically down the ladder here, but they also play, I think you might have heard me mention, Andy, the Thunder twice, the Mavericks in what is going to be a hella emotional game in Dallas, and then host Houston again. So 2 games between 3 and 8. That's
nuts.
cray.
It is nuts, man.
Dalton Knecht, I know we were going to talk about him a little bit. He played, as JJ Redick promised that he would going into the game. Did not play against the Warriors. Did played 20 minutes against Pelicans. He was the only, from a scoring standpoint, the only productive member of the bench. 5 of 10 from the floor, 2 of 6 from 3-point range. Didn't really contribute much else from a stats standpoint, but he gave them a little bit of punch. And they got to find something, because, you know, Jordan Goodwin's shooting has kind of come back down to earth. It is the reason, in part, that he's been, you know, he was available to sign. The Lakers just have to figure out a way to get a little bit of bench scoring somewhere.
Yeah, again, it becomes alleviated to some degree when Rui's available, because there's a source of, you know, anywhere from 12 to 20-ish points that you otherwise can't rely on. I mean, you know, DFS or Gabe will have those occasional nights, but they're not somebody that you can really count on for scoring. Like, Rui is a scorer. That's what he does first. It's also what Dalton does. And I have been wondering over the last few games, and it particularly came out tonight when Knecht actually played, if JJ needs to consider putting him back in the rotation. Like, I get why he took him out of the rotation, and the logic makes sense. And this is a time when coaches typically start whittling down what they're thinking is going to be their playoff rotation anyway. And we had talked a lot about how once that happened, Dalton could end up the odd man out. But the bench production, unless JJ decided to flip-flop Rui and DFS just to spread things out a little bit more, although the way the rotation runs, I'm not even sure it would make that big of a difference. I think they really need another source as opposed to rearranging when guys come in and out. And whether that means expanding the rotation or Dalton taking the place of somebody else, and it would be likely a choice between Vando and Jordan Goodwin because Gabe's too important. My guess would be Goodwin would end up the odd man out, but it's becoming problematic the way the bench just cannot be relied on to score at all.
It's one of these things that, it's mitigated by a few things. The Lakers are obviously top heavy, but they're top heavy in really impressive ways. You've got Luka, you've got LeBron, you've got AR, who aren't just scorers, but also distributors. All three of the, here's the other thing that I thought was interesting. It gives you an idea of what's missing, certainly when Rui's not there, and then other guys. The Lakers, the big three, combined for 28 free throws in this game. The Lakers, as a team, shot 28 free throws. Those three guys had all of them. And it's just, it gives you, it's an indicator not just of, what the offense looks like, but like mostly these guys that are around are just spot up shooting. There's not a lot of attacking the rim. You're not putting within. That's the other thing about Knecht that differentiates him from the other guys in that potential pool of guys who can score. Is he will go to the rim. He will attack. He's not, purely a perimeter guy where the rest of them tend to be. So I just think that's JJ talked about after the game. He was asked about it and certainly seemed happy about like the offensive production of the big three when they're on the floor together had been a little iffy for a little while. It is trending in the right way. Defense still needs work, but the offense is trending definitely in the right way. So that also kind of mitigates some of the need for like great bench scoring. If AR is going to be putting up, capable of 30 points a night and all that kind of stuff, it's an uncomfortable way to go into the playoffs.
Well, I'm seeing a comment right now from Lion King. Dalton Knecht can't play defense, and that's obviously the concern with Knecht, and it's the reason that his time in the rotation has gone in and out. It's fluctuated and all that. But where I think you might be able to get by with it is, we've seen this lineup at times of, as JJ often refers to it, like Luka and the Banshees, where it's Luka with Gabe Vincent, Dorian Finney-Smith, Vando, and Jordan Goodwin. Just Luka and four disruptive defenders. And on one hand, you can see where those guys could be ideal to have around Luka, particularly if DFS and Gabe are hitting shots. But a group like that, you've got a lot of needs covered defensively, but it also makes it really easy to throw then multiple bodies at multiple defenders at Luka without the same threat off the bounce of a LeBron or of an Austin. Like, you will often take your chances with some of these other guys having the ball. Dalton just creates more dimension in terms of the different outlets for Luka. And again, it's imperfect because the defensive concerns with Dalton are real. We saw it in this game tonight against the Pelicans, but it may be too imbalanced the way it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's how they handle the really truly shortened rotation. You talked about it, like it may be Goodwin that sits. I mean, in the end, when Rui plays, probably both of them, either one of them may play. So, we'll see, we'll see what happens. The Lakers got the win that they needed to get. They go into Oklahoma City where they obviously know they are going to need to play better. And I think we're not necessarily looking forward to that game in a dismissive sense, but looking forward to that game with the understanding of we need to whatever amount of energy we can conserve for it to go win that game. They need to, because they got to win it. They need to split these 4 games. They got to split them. Yep. If you want to have a chance to stay in that 3-4 area,
at minimum,
you got to split these games.
At minimum, that still may not be enough, but that's
may not
baseline.
But the very least, if you split them, you probably don't fall to the 6, fall the 6 or the 7, just mathematically. Also, before we go, I do want to let people know that I checked. The Bulls beat the Blazers tonight, so a costly loss for Portland, who only have 4 games remaining as opposed to the Lakers with 5. But they are still technically alive because the Suns refuse to win, and Sacramento is trying their darndest to fall out of the 10 as well. So Portland is still in it. They do play Utah and another sorry team in the West. I forgot which one. Before a game against
Pelicans. I mean, there are only so
many
many sorry teams.
Yes, it might be the Pelicans. And then they get the Warriors and the Lakers. So it's not going to be easy for Portland. But my only point is that game might still matter. We, of course, will be back after the game on Sunday. It's an early start. It's 12:30 local time start if you're in, I don't know, Los Angeles. And so expect a post-game Sunday afternoon, a little bit different than normal. And we'll let everybody enjoy their weekend after we tell them about this.
Well, that Locked On Lakers is brought to you by Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? It's a very topical point right now. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money, it's not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place, so you can just stop managing your money and start building wealth.
We don't look at your investments right
it
now.
Offers convenience instead of juggling multiple.
Leave that alone for the time being. I'm trying to bring down the room, Andy.
Juggle multiple apps instead of doing that, because that's a hassle. You can just use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and
I'd rather juggle apps right now.
Even plan long-term goals. You can also enjoy collaboration, managing money with your partners smoother than ever. Using Monarch Money, you can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, even stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first order. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year.
When news collides with advertising,
I'm not even being specific about why
I understand.
Laughing.
Locked On Lakers is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs, Andy, as we've been discussing, are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. FanDuel, they make it easy, whether it's picking your favorite team, diving into player props, 3-pointers, steals, assists. They got all kinds of ways to bet however that you want. So don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com to claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Again, FanDuel.com to claim $250 in bonus bets today. We will see everyone Sunday.